Hi, PJ. Thank you so much for talking with me today. So, I had the opportunity to watch the first two episodes of Irreverent, and I have
Okay.
to say, Mac is one of my favorite characters.
Ah,
He's so funny, and I just like the comedic relief. I love it. So, I was wondering if you see any similarities between Mac and yourself.
I do. That's well. I can't believe no one's asked me that question. That's so funny. Um, I think on some level we both love people. If that makes sense, we're just fascinated by people. I think my character has a very childlike element to him. He's sort of a kind of a character that's like if you see he can be in a conversation. If there's a red balloon, he's gone and on to the new thing. I think I'm a little more focused on that level, but I do have that childlike insight of like what's going on. Like I want a little more detail about it. But the fact that we both um, really love people, we engage people. I think that's why I go for Paolo so much. I'm just so engaged in him. And as far as being a reverend, my life is dealing with people and their problems and their issues. And I know I think that who I am as a person, and as a father now, um, I get to see those red balloons all over again, as far as like seeing the world through my children again. And I think that's also the gift of having kids, and I think that's maybe the gift of having a flock. You get to see the world through so many lenses of your parishioners.
Yeah, no, definitely. And so you see some similarities with yourself. For those maybe that aren't this, for those characteristics that you don't see as similar to yourself, how do you get into character?
You know what? For things, it's and this is for any character that I play, especially if I play sort of like some bad guys or some like people that are a little meaner in life. Um, if it feels viscerally wrong to me, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna do that. If because it's like things like Wolf of Wall Street, or I just did this part in Babylon where I play just a terrible like a first AD, and I'm just ruthless and mean to everyone. When it feels so viscerally inappropriate, I'm like, oh, that's gonna be perfect. I don't know why it's a great radar and litmus test for me. That something triggers in my body. I'm like, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna do that or say that. So it happens pretty quickly. Uh, with when I'm not similar to the characters if I played. Sometimes it's actually easier to play people that are not like me, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, definitely. I feel like that can kind of, I don't know, sometimes just seeing the separation between the character and then who you are might help
Yeah, yeah,
instead of
yeah. I
jump
mean,
right into that.
yeah. I mean, look. Here's my thing. It's just like, do I prepare an ungodly amount for all these performances or anything I do? And so it's like me. One thing is like to do the work as much as possible. Patty McRae, the showrunner, lets me add stuff and be creative. And I just seem to be very lucky now in my career that whoever I'm working with, they just kind of let me go and add to it. One writer said one time, it's like having one of our really good comedy writers actually on set who's the actor in the scene. So like that's like one of my favorite things I've ever heard. I was like, that's really lovely, and so they give me credence to do me, and that's a big deal. It took a long time for me to get to this place, believe me, because a lot of people are very sort of precious of the work, which they should be. Um, and then, but the other thing is like prepare as much as you can, have like sort of the PJ alts, and then just be classy to everyone around you and on set because you want to create a great vibe on the set. And I think that's my character, just like that too. He wants to love people to love him and be friendly, and I guess that's sort of a sense of it. But having that great sense of community and people working together and work hard, those are the two things: bust your butt and just care for everybody, from the directors down to the PAs.
Yeah, those are such great qualities to have. And you did mention that you get to add some of your own stuff in.
Yes.
So is there anything that you can tell us that you brought to Mac?
Um, I as far as like lines and scenarios and scenes, there's like one episode where you're gonna see me maybe rap a prayer. Like that didn't exist 2 days before we shot it.
Oh, wow.
Because when we there's a thing, he's gonna call me to be like, how I'm a priest, like what do I do? I'm a reverend. How do I do this properly? And there's certain scenarios like who passed away or there's a wedding or what have you, that I will sort of give him my 2 cents on. And in the beginning of the scene, it was sort of like me calling him, doing this Zumba dance, and they wanted me to do in a Zumba class. I'm sorry, and then they wanted me to do another like telling him a prayer while I'm doing in a Zumba class. I'm like, wouldn't it be funnier if I just rapped it? So literally in 2 days, like we got all the dancers and the extras and the woman playing the Zumba instructor to learn a dance. They gave me some options for like a song that we can kind of get the rights to, at least playing in the background. And so I literally within 24 hours, we had figured out a choreography, like how to rap to this prayer onto a song, and we were shooting it. So that to me is sort of like trust that and trust everyone around you to like, let's just go for it and take a risk. And those are the best sets to be on.
That's actually really funny because that was my favorite scene that I've seen so far.
Oh, no way. It didn't exist.
I was hysterical.
Oh, that's so great to hear.
I love that scene.
Oh, that's awesome.
And it's so cool to hear that you brought that. So
let me just say so the first thing I shot, just so you know this, was the last scene of episode 10. It was the first thing I shot because I shot it. So I had to do all of this work preparing, figuring out like, who am I really going to be at the end of the show? It's like, so I just gave him a couple options. So by the time we got to that Zumba scene, which was probably like 2 months into shooting or 3 months into shooting, I had known this character now so well that you just sort of trust him. Like, I have this idea. Let's just see what happens. So that's sort of like how it can happen so quickly, but everyone trusts the work and the people know and have done the work and know their character that those magical things can happen.
Oh, wow. That's really cool to hear.
We did it for you, Allie. We did it for you, Dan. We did it for
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So going off of that, without any spoilers, what was your favorite scene to film?
What was my favorite scene? Oh God, that's a great question. I mean, there's sort of this, and the thing is, I was so many times by myself, just having this conversation. So, having Colin be there was in a scene is always great. There's a scene where I might be where I get to, I don't want to give a spoiler. I finally get to act with a lot of the cast. So for me to finally be with all the cast, was a real big deal for me, because they were having sort of a lot of their own journeys. So, being with them, the woman who played my wife was just a goddess. She was so good. The guy hunting, there's a guy who might, oh my God, I can't say half of this stuff.
I'm so excited to see the rest of it now.
Oh my God. I'm like, oh no, there's a lot of there's a lot of magical stuff that are coming. Like, you got to really, I mean, my character really kicks in and goes through some stuff as it goes on. You'll see.
Oh, wow. Okay. I'm excited.
Oh, yeah.
So when you were doing like the phone calls, was that like you alone with, I guess, the extras or the background?
Yes, I was just having a conversation. With the script supervisor. Sometimes Colin was awesome too. He would call me for certain things if the time worked out. I remember there was one time I was still like, they were shooting before I got there. I was like in America, or I was in a hotel room and during COVID, talking to Colin to try to get him to a scene, or the woman, playing my wife. But a lot of the times, just because of scheduling and who's shooting where, we're double shooting, we were just alone. And Patty the showrunner, who's just a beautiful human, a great writer, would be reading with me. Or if let's say I shot it first, I'm like, I changed some stuff. Can you make sure that Colin knows I'm going to do this on this end because it was really funny, something happened funny or kooky at our end.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, but it's really just me imagining most of the time. Yeah.
Well, you did a great job because
I did that for you too, Allie. That was for you. That was all for you. Yeah, I was just having fake conversations in my brain. Yeah.
I love that. So you were in Queensland, Australia filming.
Yes, in North Queensland. Yes. Yes.
Oh, what was that like?
Well, the people from Australia are a magical people. They are tough, and I understand why. North Queensland is like a very remote area, and I didn't realize how dangerous it is in North Queensland. Not only do they have snakes and spiders and these jellyfish if you go in the water, they also have a thing called saltwater crocodiles. So it means there's crocodiles in the ocean, which I didn't know existed, and that blew my mind. So, and they also have these famous bird called cassowary birds, where they literally look like they're right out of the dinosaur age. Like, what is going on? And they can sort of pluck into your heart with their hard beaks and just rip you open if they want. Oh yeah, they can push a banana tree over with their legs. Like, what is going on? But oddly enough, the number one killer in North Queensland is not any of these things I've just mentioned. It's actually falling coconuts. Falling coconuts is the number one killer in North Queensland. Yeah.
That is shocking, actually.
No
I
one
never
no
would
one's
have
expecting
thought.
that. Yeah. Oh yeah. On set, they put cones around to like just be aware. There's coconuts falling here. Safety
Oh,
first.
wow.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, putting all these dangerous things aside, were you able to really explore Australia while you were there?
Well, it was COVID, so we were
Okay.
trying to be cool. But Australia was actually really good about COVID, and so we lived in a world of no masks. That in North Queensland and by Mission Beach in particular, it really is a beautiful, magical place that you're like, I don't even. This place is like in your dreams, you couldn't even imagine like this bucolic water and just the beautiful beaches and that the lifestyle of just chilling out up there. Sadly, I don't know how to chill out because I'm so intense about working. I wish I was better at that. That's something I need to learn as like an actor. Just like enjoy the moment more. Don't be so intense. I got to be better about that.
Yeah, no, definitely. Especially, I feel like when you're in such a fun place, you really need
I
to
know
leave.
I don't take advantage of it. I mean, some people were like literally doing like they were jumping out of airplanes and like it was like I'm not that guy, not that guy.
Did you have any favorite behind the scenes moments with the rest of the cast?
Yeah, I mean, look, we're really lucky to have like a really cool. I mean, I know everyone says it sounds so terrible and like boring, but like everyone in the cast really was like they knew what we were doing. The showrunner Patty McRae came from a religious family, so that's such a good thing to have, and people were just lovely and nice and warm. And the show's about community and people come together. And I think the biggest theme, at least for me, and we understood, it's like it was during COVID. So many people felt alone. So many people were losing loved ones. So many people were just struggling with life.
Mhm.
And our show is letting you know that like this is happening around the world. And everyone's going through problems, and we want you to know that like we're trying to deal with issues, and we understand that you're dealing with issues and that we're here for you. And so hopefully like on some level we're just a warm blanket of comfort, because right now as we're sort of getting back into the world, there's still so much schism and people conflict going on, and like
Yeah.
this show is really a warm blanket of love.
Yeah, no, I mean, I have to say, as many moments as I'm laughing, there's also one moment I just watched, and I won't spoil it, but I started to tear up seeing the
Yeah.
community come together. And
Yes.
going into the show, you think it's going to be a drama, maybe a little comedy, but you don't realize the community that those characters built.
Right.
And I mean, it was honestly, it was a beautiful scene. So,
I think you're gonna see so much more of that. I don't think you could put this show in like it's a comedy, it's a drama. It's like, and my favorite thing as an actor is to play the totality of the human. My favorite show is MASH. I mean, is MASH a comedy or a drama? You can make an argument. It's everything, and like so many people want to put that show in a box, but like I think that's part of what we're going through. It's like, is this a crime show? Is this a drama? Is it a comedy? But in horrible moments in MASH, people are laughing, and in scary, in funny moments, you're crying at because it's just beautiful. So that's what the show brings.
yeah,
Everything.
it can be a little bit of everything
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
So, my last question for you is
I'll take it. I'll take it.
what can viewers expect from this season?
I think I just think people should know that you're not alone, and we might be shooting a show in the one of the most remote places, literally on the planet. Um, and that everyone on some level is struggling. Um, but if you come together as a community, if you call your neighbor, if you check in on your neighbor or a family member or what have you, it's just going to make everyone's day a little bit better. And love and happiness can come from the most strange, obscure places, whether it's a mob guy from Chicago or what have you, or just your lovely next door neighbor. Like just check in on people, and something funny will happen. They might check in on you.
Yes,
I don't want to talk to this person. I don't give a shit. No.
well, thank you so much for your time today, and I'm
Al,
so
you're such a good egg. You're lovely. But give
thank
New York a
you.
hug for me.
Thank you, and I'm so excited to see the rest of Irreverent, and I can't wait for everyone else to see it.
I'm so pumped, man. We put a lot of work into it, and it's a really sweet show, and I hope the world gets a little happier because of it.
And it shows, so I'm so excited for everyone to see it. Thank you again.
Thank you, Al. Have a good one.